Just in from the Target 12 investigators, the mayor of Providence is calling for a middle school principal to lose his job over his handling of an incident last week that turned out to be a false alarm.
We first told you last week Nathaniel Green Middle School went on lockdown after a staff member reported a possible gun in the school. No weapon was found. Target 12 investigator Steph Machado joins us now live from Providence to explain why the mayor says the school's handling of the incident was unacceptable. Steph?
Mike and Shannon, of course, everyone has been on edge after that school shooting in Uvalde, Texas last week. Well, 2 days after that is when Nathaniel Green was placed on lockdown due to a possible sighting of a gun. And while no weapons were found, the mayor says police were not called fast enough. This was the scene around 4 p.m. at Nathaniel Green Middle School last Thursday. Police investigating after a report of a possible gun in the school. The lockdown eventually lifting after no weapon was found. But Mayor Jorge Elorza says Providence police were not called until more than an hour after a staff member thought they may have seen a weapon.
What we're learning is really upsetting. There was an egregious breach of protocol.
According to a police memo from the day after the incident obtained by Target 12, at 12:35 p.m. a dozen students were seen leaving the cafeteria, and staff members suspected a fight could break out. Around 1:05 to 1:10, according to the report, an administrator who was watching surveillance video of the students observed what he believed was one student passing a gun to another student.
Yet they did absolutely nothing for about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. That's unacceptable.
At 2:29 p.m., according to the report, the principal called the district's operations director, Jason Menard, to tell him the school was being placed on lockdown. Menard was with two school resource officers at a different school at the time who radioed the call into the police department. No call had been placed to PPD, the report states.
They didn't call 911. Instead, they called a school administrator who just happened to answer his phone and happened to be with police officers.
There was no weapons ever found.
We asked Dr. Javier Montañez, the school superintendent, why there was a delay in calling police. He said administrators were focused on dismissal procedures and weren't sure what the suspicious object was.
They were not sure if it was a gun. They were looking at making sure, once again, they were investigating to making sure. That's why they spoke with the student. They spoke with multiple students to make sure, and going back to the camera to find out, okay, what's going on.
Oh, so in your estimation, did anything go wrong here?
I want to say there's always room for improvement, but I want to make sure that, you know, we understand that we're always thinking about safety first. We want to make sure that the students were safe.
Mayor Elorza has sent a letter to Education Commissioner Angelica Infante Green demanding that the principal here be terminated. She has not gotten back to us on that, but Dr. Montañez says he has full confidence in the principal and that there will be an HR review. The superintendent also met with teachers here at the school this afternoon and is on Zoom right now with parents seeking to explain to them how they're planning to keep the school safe. We'll have more on that coming up at 6. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, 12 News.
The latest now on a story the Target 12 investigators first broke on WPRI.com. Providence's mayor wants the principal of Nathaniel Green Middle School fired, saying how the school handled reports of a possible gun last week is, quote, really upsetting.
It turned out to be a false alarm, but it came 1 month after a gun was found at that same school. Target 12 investigator Steph Machado talked to Mayor Elorza and the superintendent this afternoon. She joins us now live with what she's learned. Steph?
Mayor Elorza was outraged after speaking with police department officials. He said it was unacceptable that 911 wasn't called immediately.
There was an egregious breach of protocol.
Last Thursday, Nathaniel Green Middle School's dismissal was delayed due to a lockdown after a staff member saw a student with a suspicious object they thought could be a gun. No weapon was found, but according to a police memo from the day after the incident obtained by Target 12, there was a delay in contacting police. The memo says at 12:35 p.m., a dozen students were seen leaving the cafeteria and staff members suspected a fight could break out. At around 1:05 to 1:10, an administrator who was watching surveillance video of the students, quote, observed what he believed was one student passing a gun to another student.
Yet they did absolutely nothing for about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. That's unacceptable.
At 2:30, according to the report, the principal called a top administrator in the district to report the incident, and he told police officers who he was with at another school. No call had been placed to PPD, the report states.
They didn't call 911. Instead, they called a school administrator who just happened to answer his phone and happened to be with police officers.
Superintendent Javier Montañez says the delay was because Nathaniel Green administrators weren't sure what the suspicious object was. It could have just been a phone.
They were not sure if it was a gun. They were looking at making sure, once again, they were investigating to making sure. That's why they spoke with they spoke with multiple students to make sure, and going back to the camera to find out, okay, what's going on.
Montañez met with teachers Wednesday afternoon to discuss their concerns, an increase in fights, the gun found in April, and vandalism just last night.
With everything that's happening, look what happened in Texas. We want to make sure that we're having conversations with students, making sure they don't open the doors, making sure doors are not left propped open. So it's just making sure that the whole system is in working condition.
I asked Superintendent Montañez if a school resource officer might be added to this middle school. He said no decisions have been made, although police officers do stop by at dismissal time. He has also been holding a community meeting on Zoom with parents this evening, along with Commissioner Angelica Infante Green and the mayor. My colleague Amanda Pitts was removed from that Zoom meeting as soon as parents started airing their concerns. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, 12 News.